When I was thinking about today's talk, I started to think about this motto that I'm seeing everywhere today, all in to win, and what it means to me. And when I look back on my life and I look at everything that I've done and everything I accomplished, I realize, gosh, I am where I am today because I was all in to win. I didn't take no for an answer. When things got tough, I didn't stop, and I didn't let it stop me in my tracks. And I don't know if I've always been that way. I think it came from being forced to face challenges head on. Due to this little microscopic bacteria, over the course of 2.5 months, I ended up losing my spleen, I lost my hearing function, I lost my kidneys, and I also ended up losing both my legs below the knees due to the septic shock that my body went into. So my life changed like that. I went from a normal 19-year-old who could just throw on a dress and a pair of flip-flops and run out the door without a care in the world, to now relying on machines, mechanics, and medical innovation in order to live and in order to even survive. That day, I went home, I crawled into bed, and this is what my life looked like for the next few months. Me, passed out, just escaping from reality with these beastly legs resting by my side. I was absolutely physically and emotionally broken. The thought of living the rest of my life with these hunks of hardware as my legs was depressing and overwhelming. And little did I know at that time that my biggest loss, my legs, really ultimately would become my biggest asset. But I also realized at that time that in order to move forward with my life, I had to somehow learn to let go of the old Amy and somehow learn to embrace the new Amy. It was times like these, times that I had absolutely zero control over, that first prompted me to ask myself this really important question. If my life were a book and I was the author of that book, how would I want my story to go? And this question allowed me to daydream again. And at first I started thinking, well, I know what I don't like, and I know what I don't want for my life. I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I don't want people to see me as someone who has a handicap or a disability. I don't want to be that girl at work where people say, oh yeah, the girl has got 2 prosthetic legs. I didn't want that. I didn't want people feeling sorry for me. And so I was able to start thinking of, well, what is it that I do want? And I saw myself walking gracefully. And I saw myself somehow helping other people through this journey. And I saw myself snowboarding again. And I didn't just see myself carving down this mountain of powder, I visualized it so strongly that I could actually feel it. I could feel the wind against my face and the beat of my racing heart as if it was happening in that very moment. And that passion and that fire that I felt inside, that is when a new chapter of my life began. And when I look back on my life, I think, gosh, the common denominator of all of the things that I have done, whether it was working on my legs around the clock, whether it was working around the clock on my TED speech that I did, whether it was starting our organization and fundraising for that, whether it was training for the Paralympics or doing Dancing with the Stars, the common denominator was that I was all in to win. That I didn't let the circumstances that came my way stop me. I jumped in feet first, and I did it. And I realized that just making the choice to be all in to win isn't enough, because otherwise everything we would do, we would be successful at. I think it comes down to 2 things. It comes down to inspiration and commitment. You have to be inspired. You have to fuel your fire somehow, and inspiration kind of answers the why. Why is it you're doing something? And I always say that you don't have to know the how. You don't have to know how you're going to get there. You just have to know why. Why is it that you want to get there? And then obviously the commitment is what locks you in. And I don't know about you guys, but when I'm committed to something, especially when I make that commitment to myself, I do not back down. Thanks so much, you guys.